privilege that you have brought to this place where we are. Comrade President, the world is waiting. South Africa is waiting. Thank you very much, President.
Amandla. Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! Thank you very much, fighters and the ground forces of the EFF, the leadership of the EFF, and members of the media, the staff from Treasury. We want to thank you for your discipline, and we hope that even when we leave here, there will not be a single paper left on the ground, because this city belongs to the EFF, and we must look after it to demonstrate to the entire country that EFF has got capacity to govern. So we can only do that by leading by example. Comrades, I'm not here to speak. I spoke to you earlier. The 3G who sits in the committee on finance is going to read the memorandum to the Treasury. But our demands are very simple. We want the Reserve Bank to belong to South Africa if we want to guarantee the sovereignty of South Africa. Why do we have private shareholders in the Reserve Bank? We are here to say, why is our data expiring? But the phone is not expiring, but the data is expiring. So we don't want data to expire. We don't want airtime to expire. I must buy 100 rand airtime and I must decide when to use it. There shouldn't be a fool somewhere deciding on when I should use the data. This data, you students are using it to do research. You, the unemployed youth, are using it to search for jobs. We are not asking for luxury. We met with MTN and we told them we don't want this thing of data expiring and airtime. We equally want them to reduce the money for data because it is more expensive in South Africa compared to other countries. This treasury is the one that is running South Africa. They are the ones who decide where to put money. They have not been putting money in massive infrastructure. They have not been putting money in projects that are going to create jobs and grow the economy. Our economy has been growing with 1% because of the treasury saying we must put in place measures that are going to cut money. And that money they cut from essential services, from the things that serve black people. They cut money in education, they cut money in health, they cut money in police. You know, there was a by-election in 24 in Soweto. And then one of the voting stations, it's a barracks. That's where police stay. It's a voting station. It has got 400 registered voters. Out of 400, only 130 voted. Of the 130 people who voted, 118 policemen and their wives voted for the ANC this Thursday, this past Wednesday. 118 policemen in uniform. They don't have toilets in their police stations. They are not well looked after. They are paid peanuts. They still vote for a party that pays them peanuts. But they must know we don't hate them for that. At least they expose their stupidity. But we'll continue to fight for them so that they get better salaries. In the same barracks, and you can't tell if that thing is a police station. The grass is long, hiding the building. That's where they work. No one is cutting the grass. The same police still vote for the ANC. Sometimes you just watch and ask yourself, are we really, really normal? Why? You can't say policemen can't read. You can't say they are illiterate. They are voting for food parcels. They are not getting food parcels. They can read. And what is worse about police? Some of you say police is matric. Police is not matric. For you to be a police after matric, you must go to a police college. That is a post-matric qualification. Highly learned. Yet, vote in an illiterate manner. And you ask yourself, where does this country go to? We want the planning powers of our country to be removed from treasury. It must be a decision of politicians as to what are we going to do this year. And the treasury must just take out the money and finance what the politicians have said they are going to do this year. On Wednesday, we are going to listen to another lie. There will not be a plan to create jobs. There will not be a plan to grow the economy. There won't be money to give to Transnet. There won't be money to give to state-owned enterprises. They want to privatize them so that we can be unemployed. PRASA, Transnet, Eskom, and all those state institutions that are owned by government, they were created to create jobs for white Afrikaners. Now that our white Afrikaners have gone to America, but we must close those things and not give them money so that you cannot get jobs. You need to ask yourself, what is a big infrastructure here in Tshwane that government is building? There is no any big project in Tshwane that is presided by government. And then where do you expect to get jobs if there is no project that must create jobs? Which factory has been opened? Which minerals are being beneficiated here in South Africa? Nothing. Yet you say you are going to create jobs. The only thing the ANC celebrate is that SASSA they give to our people and the 350 because they think they can buy you. You must take the 350 and vote for the EFF because that money does not belong to the ANC. Fighters, let's go back and launch branches. Let's make sure that branches of the EFF are strong. Branches of the Youth Command are strong so that we can continue to fight these things I'm telling you about. Donald Trump knows very well that there is no white Afrikaner who's being killed in South Africa. It's a lie. Even if they come and kill us, it will remain a lie because no one is being killed in South Africa. The white killings I've seen is white people killing each other, partners, for inheritance. There is no black people who are killing white people as a political statement that we are now going to kill whites. There is no organization that represented that. The threat came from the FNB Stadium. When they saw EFF 10th anniversary, they started shaking, started working on a plan on how are we going to kill the EFF. They wanted to kill it on the 29th of May. Money came out after those rallies. Everything. Songa is a ZV. He gets formed today. The following day he's got money to send SMSs. Don't vote EFF. He has no reason why. He was formed to come and stop the EFF. All of them, they get money from white capital which wants to kill the EFF. If you are destroying a branch of the EFF during the launch. You are working with Songezo Zibi. You are working with the Ruperts. You are working with white monopoly capital to destroy our organization. The organization of the poor, of the poorest. Student debt can't be cancelled if there is no EFF. Our children will not get enough money if there is no EFF. Gogos will continue to pay for water and electricity if there is no EFF. So do not destroy the branches of the EFF. Build the EFF, because when you build the EFF, you are defending the future, and that future belongs to your children. We don't care about ourselves now. We are marching now so that our children cannot march next year because we have done the job for them. We want our children to inherit a functional country. Country ibodile. There is no department that functions well. There is no municipality that functions well. There is a municipality here called Madibeng. Kisakasi in and out. This nonsense is going to be stopped next year when you vote for an EFF candidate to come and represent the poor of the poorest. And in the EFF, when opportunities to Tamaya, who divided the branch unana Rutova Cancelar. In the EFF, there are no PR lists. There are no PR candidates. They are ward candidates. And then the PR will come from the ward candidates on the basis of their performance. If they lose a ward, but they got the higher number, then they become number one on the PR list. Alesato Jakabu PR, Rijaka or branch ya sebetsa na. A branch ya is a sebet. Auna regional chairperson at outsenya. Arena di region. Renali di sub-regional di branch. Sub-regions must supervise branches of Soshanguve, of Centurion. Branches tarena. This one be functional branches. Arinyage motwa jiga mo aperi oversize or ake pinche kama roho. Arigena regional secretary. Secretary. So renyaka lower structures that are going to function. Build the EFF, it will look after you. Look the EFF taking care of you with 9%. Imagine if you put 0 next to that 9%. What will happen to this country? What will happen to this continent? We are the only one who can liberate black people. We are here to tell Treasury we are unemployed because of you. Our economy is not growing because of you. You have turned yourself into a powerful institution. There is no institution that can be more powerful than the people. The power is with the people. The power belongs to the people, and we demand the people's budget. If it is not for the people, we don't want it. We want this treasury to get out of IMF and generate money, not money to be spent on servicing the debt, but money that is going to serve the ordinary people on the ground. Fighters who are continuing the fight on Wednesday. If that budget is not what you want, then they should know there's going to be a fight in that parliament. We are not in parliament to nurse egos, to ask for favors, to be liked. We don't want positions in government. As long as we have a platform to speak for our people, we'll continue to speak for them. Whether they vote for us or not, we will fight for them because we love black people. Fighters, here is the TG.
Thank you, CIC. Economic Freedom Fighters Memorandum to the National Treasury, 19 May 2025. We, the Economic Freedom Fighters, acting on behalf, Madam, please come close to me. Give me Laura Mseme, ke lekgwala rena, ke tlhogo ya office ya DG, Dr. Duncan. We, the Economic Freedom Fighters, acting on behalf of millions of the unemployed, economically suffocated, landless, indebted, and structurally excluded working class majority of South Africa, have come to the National Treasury, the very center of economic policy formulation and fiscal control, to register our total rejection of austerity, our resolute opposition to the increase in VAT, and our demand for a complete transformation of the fiscal policy. The EFF is leading this mass action because South Africa is on the verge of collapse, and it is the National Treasury that has for 3 decades engineered and forced and now intensified this collapse under the pretense of fiscal consolidation, budget discipline, and market confidence. South African economy has not grown by more than 1% per annum for over a decade. There is no coherent, credible, or microeconomic plan from the National Treasury to suggest that this is going to change. Every budget speech in the past 10 years has been a list of failed predictions, false optimism, and austerity. The Minister of Finance now admits what we have long warned, that austerity has failed, yet the same logic is repeated: cut spending, weaken the state, increase regressive taxes like VAT, and protect the rich and the powerful. The minister confirmed the loss of over 9,000 doctors in the public health system due to budget constraints. Across provinces, schools could not fill vacancies at the beginning of 2025. Police stations are collapsing, operating in rented facilities at exorbitant costs, while our defense and military capabilities are in terminal decline. This is the outcome of a budgetary framework designed to serve the financial sector and not the people. The social consequences of the National Treasury's budgetary and economic policy choices are not theoretical. They are felt daily by the vast majority of South Africans, particularly by the black working class, who carry the heaviest burden of unemployment, poverty, and structural exclusion. Today, South Africa sits with over 12 million unemployed people, the overwhelming majority of whom are black and under the age of 35. These are not people who are unwilling to work. They are people who have been deliberately shut out of the economy by a policy regime that privileges capital over labor, speculation over production, and fiscal restraint over inclusive development. Even those with post-matric qualifications, young people who have followed the script and pursued education in the hope of employment, are faced with the grim reality of lifetime unemployment. The economy simply does not produce the kind of jobs they were promised, and the few available opportunities are concentrated in racialized networks and elite spaces to which most black youth are denied access. This situation has created a generation of structurally excluded people whose potential contributions to society and the economy are wasted, while the National Treasury continues to cut budget under the false guise of stability. The result is a deep psychological and emotional crisis. Debt levels have reached unsustainable proportions, with more than half of credit-active South Africans being over-indebted. One of the clearest examples of this systemic cruelty is the manner in which the state, under National Treasury's guidance, continues to punish black students and graduates with the burden of historical student debt. Thousands of black graduates, having completed their degrees academically, are unable to receive their certificates because they are blacklisted over fees. This prevents them from entering regulated professions that require formal registration, such as engineering, architecture, and geology. It is for this reason that even in the face of crisis, white graduates continue to dominate high-skilled professional spaces, while their black counterparts, equally qualified, are locked out, forced into underemployment, or permanently displaced from their fields of study. This is not an oversight. It is a deliberate structural inequality upheld by the failure to cancel student debt and the refusal of the National Treasury to fund education as a public good. Beyond the crisis of work and education lies the broader reality that over 65% of South Africans cannot cover their basic monthly expenses, including rent, food, transport, and school fees. Yet, despite this mass impoverishment, the National Treasury continues to implement policies that protect the wealthy and punish the poor, raising VAT while leaving corporate taxes untouched, slashing public service posts while banks announce record profits, and insisting that there is no money while billions are paid in debt service to global financiers. The National Treasury's policy regime is not neutral, and it is not failing by accident. It is succeeding in its real mission to protect elite interests, preserve wide economic power, and maintain the colonial structure of the South African economy. It is for this reason that the EFF demands an end to this unjust regime and the implementation of a people's budget that puts human dignity, racial justice, and structural transformation at the center of economic planning. We come with a clear message: transform or face permanent revolt. These demands are non-negotiable. They represent the minimum conditions for a people's budget and a sovereign developmental state. We demand: 1, transformation of the leadership, senior management, and strategic functions of National Treasury. 2, reverse budget cuts and increase funding to the public health system, basic education, policing, and military infrastructure. These are not bailouts, they are investments in state capacity and sovereignty. 3, reject the ideological refusal to fund state-owned entities. National Treasury must finance the recovery of strategic entities like Transnet, PRASA, Dinel, and ESCOM. This must be paired with strict anti-corruption and anti-capture mechanisms, including parliamentary oversight and community boards. 4, draft budgets must reflect the will and needs of the people. This means employment of doctors, nurses, teachers, police officers, and soldiers. Build public infrastructure driven by the state, not outsourced to tenders. Increased allocations to housing, food security, and sanitation. 5, immediate cancellation of historic student debt, fund all undergraduate students, and support postgraduate studies for all students. 6, legislate a progressive tax on high net worth individuals and luxury land holdings. Introduce an apartheid redress tax on inherited white wealth. Use revenues to establish a sovereign wealth fund to insulate the country from IMF dependence. 7, immediately legislate aggressive anti-avoidance laws, crack down on transfer pricing and base erosion by multinational corporations, and build SARS capacity to recover billions hidden in tax havens. 8, raise the equitable share for municipalities from the current 9.5% to at least 14%. Conditional grants must support the insourcing of workers, municipal infrastructure renewal, and reliable service delivery in distressed towns and cities. 9, we reject the 2025 VAT increase, which unfairly burdens the poor. Instead, we demand a wealth tax, a luxury land tax, and an apartheid redress tax on inherited wealth to ensure that the rich pay their fair share and the economy is made just. 10, cancel the privatization of essential services, water boards, state-owned entities, and core infrastructure. 11, end the policy capture of the state by international financial institutions, IMF and the World Bank. All new loans must be tabled in Parliament before being signed. 12, we demand an immediate investigation into exorbitant bank charges which exploit grant recipients, workers, and the unemployed, and serve only to enrich financial institutions at the expense of the poor. 13, force telecommunications companies to end data and airtime expiry policies that exploit the working class. Regulate the sector to align with public interest. The National Treasury is not a neutral institution. it is a contested side. Today, it stands on the side of financial capital, privatization, and anti-black austerity. We are here to say no more. South Africa cannot be governed by accountants. We cannot build an industrial economy with Excel spreadsheets and IMF loan agreements. We cannot end poverty while we continue to write laws for banks and cut services for the poor. The National Treasury's power must be returned to the people through parliament, through democratic mobilization, and through a state that understands its revolutionary obligations. We are not here to negotiate our humanity. We are here to ask nicely. We are here to say that the working class majority of this country will no longer subsidize the comfort of the rich. We give the National Treasury 30 days to respond to these demands. Failure to respond will result in intensified mass action, litigation, and targeted protests against the architects of economic oppression. The suffering of the people is not a burden, it's not a budget item. It is a reality. If this National Treasury will not change, it must be changed by the power of the people. Commander-in-Chief is going to sign the memorandum. Afetse afe mewa lukhoa wa rena Melora Mseme. Yena ki tlhogo ya the head of DG ka mo National Treasury. Le yena a sign hore ka nnete o kry-ile memorandum. Ho signa mo, ha se mo rava. Oh, signa mo, ha se mo rava. Oh, signa mo, ha se mo rava. Oh, signa mo. Angelis fighters, Elapil. Oh, signa mo. Oh, asemo raba raba. Oh, signa mo. All right, Rale fighters, I say some few remarks on behalf of Dr. Duncan. Dr. Duncan is the DG of National Treasury. Melora.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I am Laura Mseme. I'm the head of the Office of the Director General of National Treasury. I'm here to represent the Minister as well as the Director General, who are both in Cape Town. This confirms receipt of your submission as well as requested, an undertaking to submit it to the Minister of Finance. Thank you very much.